In today's video, which is part 2 of the cabinet built from scrap wood, we'll be adding the LED lights and building the missing cabinet doors, which are also made from scrap wood. So let's get started. So again, I'm using scrap wood I had laying around. You can see that this board here has a wet stain on one of the edges. Not sure how that happened, but it's still a solid and firm piece of plywood, so I'll still be using it for one of the doors. Both the boards have a big bend in the center, so I'll have to find a way to get this straightened out. Maybe by putting a piece of metal bar on the center of the door or something. I'm not sure yet. If you have suggestions, please let me know. These boards are so bent that it almost looks like if they're doing the talking on the video. Don't forget to subscribe. The doors are short by about an inch, so I'll be adding an extra piece to each one of the doors so they can get to the right size. The additional wood strips that I'm adding will be covered when I glue some faceboards on top of them. Those faceboards will help not only to cover the strips, but also it will give the cabinet doors the shaker design. So I'll be cutting out a total of 8 pieces that will be glued around both of the doors to give them the shaker door look. I had never tried giving them the shaker design by adding faceboards on top of a piece of plywood, but I saw someone else on YouTube use this same method and they ended up looking pretty good. So let's hope I get the same result. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, I plan to create some more great content for you all, so if you don't mind, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to help out the channel. We want to see if we can reach the 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Also, don't forget to hit that like button so the YouTube algorithm can share with others. Again, thank you very much for your support. By the way, if you have not seen part 1 of the build, make sure to check out that video after this one. In part 1, we built the really awesome coffee station where we are going to install these doors we're making, so make sure to check it out and also like that video if you enjoy it. Now it's time to sand down the boards a little before we glue them. This way the glue has a clean surface to stick to. With a little bit of sanding, we're able to get most of that stained board cleaned up and looking much better. Those boards are now looking like new again. Now we just sand the 2 strips we cut out and the trims for the shaker boards. We just want to make sure everything is as clean and as smooth as possible before gluing. And now it's just time to glue everything together. I always make sure to use a whole lot of clamps just to make sure the trim boards and the plywood stick well on all areas. This way we prevent any ungluing. I make sure to start clamping on one edge and continue to add clamps until I reach the other end. Of course, you have to be adjusting the clamps to make sure the boards won't move around as you start to clamp down. You can never have too many clamps in my opinion. Just when you think you finished clamping, you end up seeing an area where the boards are not joining together correctly. I sometimes end up running out of clamps and I have to resort to putting heavy objects on top to try to compress the boards together. So always have enough clamps available. Once everything is clamped down, we just leave the boards overnight to make sure the glue dries properly. The next day I began to unclamp the trims I glued. Everything seems to be glued correctly. The strips I added are now firmly glued in place and you can see how they got covered by the shaker face trim. I think that's how it's called. Let me know if I'm saying it correctly in the comment section. Shaker face trim. Now it's time to finish gluing the boards that were pending. You can really see the bend on the board here. The face trim of the shaker board sticks up on both ends, but with enough clamps we'll have these 2 boards stick together. So once we glue the missing face trims to both doors, we just have to wait until the following day again. The following day it's time to drill the holes where the hinges will go. This is not the ideal drill bit to use to drill the holes, because I can end up perforating the other end with the pointy tip. But since I do not own the correct drill bit used to make the holes, I had no choice but to use this drill bit just to make the top of the hole, and then after that I just chisel out the rest. Sometimes you have to find ways to improvise when you don't have the proper tools available. Not the best looking holes, but the hinges fit quite well. These hinges have the soft closing feature on them. These cost about $8 for a pair. So these were the most expensive part of the door since it's the only thing I had to buy. Now that I got the holes out of the way, it's just time to start painting the doors. The color we're using again is the Ocean Boulevard with the interior eggshell enamel finish. So we just take our paintbrush and start to paint both sides of the doors. This paint dries up pretty fast, so I was able to finish painting both doors in about an hour. After that, I just screw on the hinges and proceed to take them inside to install. This right here is the LED strip I bought to use for the lighting. They're called RGBW color changing. I got these at Walmart, multicolor, multi-white, with a peel and stick adhesive on it for easy installation. I'll be plugging it into the power strip where the coffee pot will go. And take a look how they light up. I believe this is the soft white that you are seeing here. I drilled a couple of holes beneath the boards to run the strip through. Here's how they look in the multicolor mode. Looks like if you're at a nightclub. Better yet, a coffee club. If you've made it until this part of the video, I will just say thank you very much for your time. Don't forget to watch part 1 of the build and make sure to subscribe and like the video. I will have some more great content for y'all soon. Thank you so much for your time and have a great rest of your day.